Information is power.
All right, let's talk about Al Sharpton and his National Action Network conference. There was a lot of controversy there. Let's get into it right now. This is the Information Man Show. Thank you for joining me. Look, Al Sharpton, and I got to keep this 100% real, his National Action Network is similar to a church. This is a man who doesn't actually have a real church, but his organization, the National Action Network, almost seems like a church, right? And like churches today, black churches today, you don't have a lot of young people. We're talking about the Z generation. We're talking about the millennials. You know, you have mainly a lot of baby boomers that are in charge of what's going on, a few Gen Xers like myself, but for the most part, young people are just not feeling it today. Okay. And young people are not feeling this passive aggressive, this, bow your head down, this, we're going to vote for the Democratic Party and not get anything for our vote. It doesn't matter if it's the Democrats or the Republican. You don't vote for anybody and don't get anything for your vote. You're supposed to get something for your vote. And this young brother right here, I want to put it up because a lot of young brothers out here are just not having it. They're not having the Democratic Party. They're not feeling it. And it's just the way it is. This brother right here got up because they were having sort of a Q&A on this morning in question at the 35th convention. And this guy right here was leading it. This guy got a little sassy, in my opinion. He was one of only a few young people that were even there, because when this brother said, hey, how many of you are 35 years old and younger? There were 1, 2, 3. Wait a minute. There were, I got to call it like I see it, everybody. There was 1, 2, 3, 4 young people that were in the audience. That is a bad representation. And then Al Sharpton, he got triggered by this young man speaking his mind. They had Kamala Harris there. We're going to get to her, but this young man spoke his mind and they didn't like it. I'm going to play you the clip because it's the clip that's gone a little viral and people are wondering, hey, and at one point in time, the brother was like, who are you, to the sassy guy that was, running the whole thing. He said, who are you? I'm just going to say that if we don't get the check, no vote if we get no check. So you got young people that are not feeling what the Democrats or the traditional Democratic Party is laying down. Okay. They don't really have, I don't think Al Sharpton and his organization, the National Action Network, I don't think they really have a good connection to young people. Let me go ahead and show you the video in question right now. I'm going to critique this because I thought the brother he said something that I thought was honest and truthful. You may disagree, but reparations is owed to Black Americans because this country, the foundation of it, was built off of our ancestors' labor, even before many of these immigrants got to this country. And so reparations is not a handout. It is what America owes. It's a debt that America owes to Black people who have lineage here. Check this out. This was interesting.
Wait. Step up, tell us your name and briefly. What's on your mind?
Hey, yo, as I look around this room, if you're 35 years old or younger, raise your hand. 4 people. So here's the thing. Y'all in trouble.
Now, this is embarrassing. You have only 4 young people there. This is similar to what you'll see in some of your Black churches where young people are just not feeling it. You got baby boomers that are carrying the narrative, baby boomers that are dictating the narrative of what Black America wants, when young Black Americans want reparations, want justice and freedom and equality. But there seems to be a generational disconnect between the generations. And this is not going to bear well for a Black organization, whether it be the NAACP, if you don't have enough young people taking lead. I think that the older generation needs to pass the torch or light a young person's torch so that they can lead as well. Let's continue.
Yesterday, you had Al Green up here talking about we need a Secretary of Reconciliation, and then that's going to include what he said was reparations, which, by the way, wasn't reparations. Reparations is more than a check, but the very first thing it is a check. And come this year during the midterms and in 2028, if you don't have our check, you won't get no vote.
Boom. Let's stop it right there. Now, what do you all think about that? I want you to give honest comments in the comment section of this video. Some people think that what that young man said right there was he was agitating the conference, that he was coming there to be a troublemaker. Even Al Sharpton himself, if you can believe this, had the audacity to call him an agent when we already know that Al Sharpton, there's been rumors put out there allegedly that Al Sharpton is the one that is the agent. Okay. And so I'm going to show you video today. That's another example of more information that would make you lead to that thinking that Al Sharpton's an agent, but he called this young man right here an agent because he simply spoke his mind. That's the problem right there. He's from the younger generation, and now you have a baby boomer generation like the Al Sharptons of the world who can't say, hey, I want to have a conversation with that young brother after the conference over or today. Instead of him trying to have some type of connection to the young brother and talk to him, Al Sharpton wants to call him a agent because he kind of messed up their flow, right, of their agenda, which is to once again tell black people, go on and vote for the Democratic Party when the Democratic Party is compromised, and particularly the CBC, the Congressional Black Caucus. I'm going to show you some video clips. Don't go away to show you why we're not getting anything out of the CBC as black people, because they are compromised by Israel and the AIPAC. And I'm going to show that to you. But let's get back to this.
No check, no vote. Yeah, I know that ain't what you want to hear, but that's what's happening. All of y'all in here, with all due respect, you're beautiful, but you're old. You're not talking to the youth. You don't know how to talk to the youth. You're trying to tell us what to do. We're not having it no more.
Boom. Now, not only did he, obviously, he triggered the elders. He went after the elders here by saying you're beautiful, but you're old, and you're out of touch with the youth, with what we want. You're not representing us in the way that we feel that we should be represented. How many of you in the chat room feel that I'm not going to say all baby boomers, black baby boomers are out of touch with us, but there's certainly enough of them out there that have been out of touch with younger people. And as a Gen Xer myself, I have to be honest, we as Gen Xers, we are doing the same thing that we said we would not do, that was done to us by the baby boomers who did not pay attention to us as well. And now we're flipping the same kind of behavior. We're flipping the same thing that was done to us. So we have to also check ourselves as Gen Xers. I think what the young man is saying here is very valid. It may come off as disrespectful. I'm sure the elders there didn't appreciate what he said. Maybe he could have said it in a way that was more, palatable, that would be more, people wouldn't take it so bad. But sometimes the truth can cut like a knife, and it has to be said sometimes. Let's get back to this.
To the youth. You don't know how to talk to the youth. You're trying to tell us what to do. We're not having it no more. So if you want our vote, you got to come with our paper. We're not scared of Trump. We're not scared of anybody. Biden is a racist. Trump is a racist. Kamala is a racist. And if you don't have our money, you don't get our vote. Yeah, who are you? Oh, all right, yeah. So like I was saying, I'm going to land my plane right there. But the Democrats are no better than the Republicans. No check, no vote.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, what do you think about what he just said? Do you feel that the young man is 110% orange juice correct? That I've always felt this way. I'm an independent. Either party I don't care for. The Democrats have been a disaster for us. I'm talking about currently. I'm not talking about the Civil Rights Act or what happened during the 60s. I'm talking about what have the Democratic Party, in particular, your CBC, Congressional Black Caucus, that is supposed to represent black people. What have they done for us in the 21st century that we've been in for quite some time lately? I would say nothing. The Republican Party, on the other hand, same thing. Before you say, hey, you're a Trumper. No, I don't like Trump. I don't like the Republicans. The Republicans as well have done nothing for us lately. And don't give me that Abraham Lincoln stuff, because Abraham Lincoln wanted to ship black Americans to Haiti, South America, and get us out of here. Only was concerned about the Union staying together. Okay, so he is right here. And then the question you have to ask yourself, why is it that there is, or it appears like there is a disconnect between younger generations than the older generations? This has been happening for decades, and we got to figure out how we can clean it up. They've got to give young people a voice. Now, the fact that there was only 4 young people even in this place speaks to the fact that Al Sharpton and those like him of his ilk are failing. They are not speaking a message that is resonating with young people. Like this young man right here. Their message is not resonating. It has not resonated. It will not resonate until people like Al Sharpton and all the black baby boomers get off their ass and decide to say, let's include young people's voices. Let their voice reign. Because Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., as you all know, when he took over in the civil rights movement, he was a very, very young man. So Al Sharpton was very triggered by what the young man was saying, as I said before. Let's continue some more of this.
Y'all take care. And somebody give my man a tissue. He need a tissue.
This guy right here got flustered. Listen to this guy. Very sassy guy.
There are many young people that are part of the National Action Network.
Okay, if there are young people that are part of the Action Network, I would like to know, why is it when the brother asked how many people are 35 years of age and younger, only 4 people, let's keep it real, everybody, only 4 people were there. That is a very sad commentary for a convention or a conference that's going on 35 years. You see, let me give you an old saying, everybody. You judge a tree by the fruit that it bears. And Al Sharpton is not bearing the fruit because his message is not resonating, and the message of his organization, which he treats like a church, is not resonating with young people in mass. Yes, the National Action Network, yes, they may have young people involved in the organization, such as this guy right here. Okay? We're not denying that, but they're not speaking and saying something that is resonating with the masses of young people. That's what we're talking about. I think that's what this brother was talking about right here. And we can't deny this, okay? Because this video speaks for itself. Again, you judge a tree by the fruit that it bears. I want y'all to hear a little bit more of this. And here we go.
4 people. So here's the thing. Y'all in trouble. Yesterday you had Al Green up here talking about we need a Secretary of Reconciliation, and then that's going to include what he said was reparations, which, by the way, wasn't reparations. Reparations is more than a check, but the very first thing it is a check. And come this year during the midterms and in 2028, if you don't have our check,
right,
you won't get no vote. No check, no
vote.
Yeah.
Whoa. Now, look, Al Sharpton gets up. Of course, he speaks, talks down about that young man, calls him an agent. But the fact of the matter is, we have a Congressional Black Caucus with people just as old as Al Sharpton. And we've been asking for the reparations for God knows how long, and they haven't done a damn thing about it. It hasn't been done under Biden, any administration. Obama didn't do anything for us in this particular area. And it's really a damn shame that when you ask that question, you don't get an answer, a direct answer. They want to filibuster you into this whole thing about, well, you better vote. They want to scare you into who they want you to vote for. And I'm not saying that I'm a Trumper or that people should run out and vote for Republicans just because. You vote for people based on whether they're going to do something for you. A vote should not be given freely. And this is what happened when Kamala Harris, remember, let me put her up here. Remember when Kamala Harris was running and we had people like Rapper Plies and everybody and their mama telling us, oh, don't demand anything of her. Just vote for her. Don't demand, let the sister run without anybody giving her criticism or critiques or saying, hey, we want reparations, right? And we already know how she felt about reparations when she did that interview with the, what was that? With that publication, The Griot. I want to be very correct here. The Griot, where she said, nah, I'm not just going to do something for black people only. Nah. And that's the problem right there. And that plays a role as to why people, you got this young guy who's saying we got plenty of young people in the organization, but none of them were there. 4 people does not represent you having a good number of young people. But we've got this woman right here, Kamala Harris, who looks like she wants to run again, who in a video, and I'm going to play that video today, is now telling black folks you should not vote for anybody without getting yours, getting something, which was exactly what most of us were saying when she ran, but we were told not to press her on the issue. Or did she want to answer those type of questions? You see how the Democrats are flipping it because they're trying to do what? They want to get back control of government. Of course, we know Trump is a disaster, but the government system in itself, the Republicans and Democrats, both of them are 2 parties that screw you either way, one way or another. Let me get to Al Sharpton and what he had to say here. Check out Al Sharpton on this one. Check this out.
So I'm glad that people are here. Let me say, in terms of our report for the year, and then we're going to go on with the program. Our young people are rehearsing, getting ready for the.
This is a lie. This is a lie. This man, Al Sharpton, sets up here after that brother called him out about young people not having a voice and how many young people were in the room, only 4. And Al Sharpton got up there and did exactly what you call the manipulation, to sit up there and say, oh, we got young people here, they're rehearsing. All of a sudden, you got young people there, Al, rehearsing. But only 4 were there when it was all called out by the young brother right here. And now you want to tell us, oh, well, we got young people, they just rehearsing. No, Al Sharpton, you are a preacher. I don't call you Reverend Sharpton. Let me tell you something, everybody. You should never call this man Reverend. If you know your Bible, you're not supposed to use that term Reverend in that context of a man like Sharpton or any man. Preacher, priest, whatever, cool. But he uses a term that he should know himself, if he's a man of the cloth, that he should not be using. That reverend term is more of a term of being a god. He's not a god. But this is why he can't resonate with young people like this brother right here that you see on the B-roll. This is why they're not resonating with young brothers like this, because they're not speaking the language of the young people. They're not on the ground, grassroots floor to understand what young people want today. And their playbook that they've been running, the baby boomers have been running this playbook for years. And some of us as Gen Xers, we've even brought into the playbook. And that playbook is not resonating with the Z generation. It ain't resonating with millennials. It's a new time, a new day. This guy said he wasn't having it. But Al Sharpton sets up here and says disrespectful things. But listen to him lie again. Listen.
for the year. And then we're going to go on with the program. Our young people are rehearsing, getting ready for the afternoon.
All of a sudden they rehearsing.
I heard somebody talk about young people that tell them to just stay around. They're going to see two people, afternoon, all of the youth in NAN. I don't know. But you get provocateurs, because anybody that's talking to somebody younger than them holding the mic, then you know that they paid agents.
Now, Al Sharpton, you've got no business saying about paid agents when you yourself have been accused and alleged to be an agent. And matter of fact, there's video where you even admit that you were an agent. Then you say, no, you weren't. You went flipping and back and forth. And there's even video out there of you with a big old hat on when you were big and chubby and fat.
Tell the truth.
And they got you on video, because I seen the video myself many years ago where there was some type of alleged drug transaction that was going on with you. Alleged. I'm alleging this, but there's video. I think they even had it on 2020. So you got to wonder, how does he get a gig like MSNBC? How does he able to flourish like he has when he got caught with his hands allegedly in the cookie jar some years ago? He's talking about an agent. Listen to this.
And if you're in the room, if you don't like me saying that, I'll say it again. Because you cannot get reparations without putting people in office that's going to pay them. So
now Al's going to say you can't get reparation without putting in people that's going to pay it, right? But the problem is that Al's not telling you the fact that the Democratic Party is brought and paid for. The AIPAC has got all the Democrats wrapped up around their pinky finger. They got them all wrapped up because they're all doing the bidding for AIPAC, which is represented by Israel. All the CBC, you can go online and see all the CBC representatives that have been compromised this way. I'll give you a perfect example. I was going to wait before I show this, but let me give you this right here. Hakeem Jeffries, look at this. This is Track the AIPAC. This is how much money he's receiving. These black politicians who are supposed to represent us are getting tons of money from AIPAC. They're getting millions of dollars. They're getting thousands of dollars. They're receiving in pro-Israel lobby. And then you wonder why black people in the 21st century, these so-called black representatives who we put in office, are not doing anything for us. Wait until I show you the video that will show you the evidence of what I'm talking about. But Al Sharpton has his nerve to be calling somebody an agent. I want to hear this again.
Talking to somebody younger than them holding the mic, then you know that they paid agents.
Boom. How dare he say this? How dare you, Al Sharpton? Because it's time to expose you, man. Let me cue up the video about Al Sharpton. Everybody, are you ready? Here we go. Boom.
Selling drugs in the black community. That's what they say. Yeah. Selling drugs in the black community. Al Sharpton's all behind all that. That's what they say. I didn't say it. Don't put it on me.
Al Sharpton goes up to their offices. Reggie and Victor Guerrero. So remember, Victor Guerrero is an undercover FBI agent. His real name is Victor Quintana. But back then,
now, as you can see, this guy right here has a YouTube channel, but he was a part of the mob in New York. He was one of the guys that was famous for getting college players to shave points. We're talking about basketball games and what have you. This guy was a made man, very well connected. Okay. He has he went to prison, sort of gotten away from that type of lifestyle, but he was a made man in the mob, and he knows from his own personal involvement in the mob what Al Sharpton is. Let's continue. Let me move this back and let's continue. Let's go.
Don't put it on me.
Al Sharpton goes up to their offices. Reggie and Victor Guerrero. So remember, Victor Guerrero is an undercover FBI agent. His real name is Victor Quintana, but back then it was Guerrero. And in the meeting, Al Sharpton proposes a drug deal to them. He's got a big cowboy hat on, he's smoking a cigar. And
What did I tell y'all?
In some way. This is all on videotape, and it's been seen on Brian Gumbel's Real Sports. So whatever I'm telling you, again, it's all documented. As a result of this meeting, that Al Sharpton became an informant afterwards, because the government came to him and said, hey, are you trying to propose a drug deal? And they turned him into an informant at that time.
Boom. Did you hear what this man is saying right here? I think this guy is Michael Frazione. Was a mobster, and his whole thing was getting young people and college players, like I said before, to shave points on basketball games. I mean, he ran a major operation out of New York and was well connected in the mob. Let's continue.
Al denies it, and then he admitted, then he denies it. Look, you got to give Al credit. I mean, he is a good talker. Look where he is now, visiting, or he was visiting with Obama. He's made a name for himself. So, hey, if he really has changed his life, who am I to doubt that? Good for him.
All right, y'all. Isn't that interesting? So while Al Sharpton is sitting up here talking about this young man right here is a agent, Al Sharpton is the one that you could make a allegation against, or you can say, the information that's been coming out on Al Sharpton over the years makes me believe, it gives me the appearance that this man, to me, appears like he could be an agent, or he is an agent, or allegedly has been said to be an agent. Now, I have to say that for the purposes of YouTube and all that, but y'all know what I'm trying to say here. Why he talks about this young man in a way that he just did. I didn't like that. Let's continue with this video. Let's go.
And if you're in the room, if you don't like me saying that, I'll say it again. Because you cannot get reparations without putting people in office that's going to pay them. So talk that ignorance somewhere else.
As you see, everybody that was at this conference on this morning, it's all older people. 4 younger people in the audience. There he goes talking bad on the young man instead of just saying, hey, I want to talk to that young man in person privately. I want to meet with him. I want to see what we can do to work with this young man to make what he's asking for possible. See, what happened to that, Al? Why don't you work with the young man? But no, you didn't, because why? He triggered you, made you look bad, and here we go.
People talk about we have been for all of our existence fighting for reparations.
No, you haven't, Al.
You cannot get reparations unless you elect folks that's going to pay you. Who you going to pay yourself?
No, Al, we're not going to pay ourselves, Al. We're not going to pay ourselves, but what we do know is that we don't have the people that you claim in yourself that's been fighting for reparation all these years. You don't have results because you judge a tree by the fruit that it bears, and you haven't bared any fruit. You are an ambulance chaser. You like to take on cases that are happening to black people that can get you on the news that are flashy. Let me continue on with this.
So you can't on one hand say, don't vote for everybody, they racist, but I want reparations. Who's going to pay you?
The brother was making a statement of fact. It is a fact that the Republican Party had racist people. It's a fact that the Democratic Party had racist individuals, because we know the history that the Democratic Party was the party of Dixiecrats. I've talked about this before, that it was the Southern Democrats that got together with the Southern Republicans to undermine black people in this country. Both parties didn't want us to be free and have justice and equality. And even when the Republicans themselves took a vote to give black people freedom, I told you it really wasn't freedom, because the minute we came out of slavery, they had Jim Crow for us, black codes for us. They had the Ku Klux Klan terrorizing black men and women across this country. They had segregation where you had separate but not equal. White folks had everything that they wanted. Black people had schools with no proper books. It was not equal like it was supposed to be under the law. You had Plessy versus Ferguson. You had the Dred Scott case. You had all these things. And of course, you had Dr. King and the civil rights movement fighting for us to even have the right to vote. That ain't freedom. So that's why we have to keep this in context. But the Democrats and Republicans, they're both part of the problem and have been for a long time.
So either you paid or you stupid or both.
You see how he's talking? So he's basically saying that this brother is stupid.
I mean, I don't see nobody standing up. I didn't see whoever it was. But
stop right there. You see how Al Sharpton lies? He made a claim that he did not see who it was, but he just talked as if he knew who it was. What do I mean by that? Al Sharpton made a claim that this young brother right here was an agent. After talking all that huffy puffy talk about this young man as an agent, Al Sharpton turned around and just told you he didn't even know who it was, but was talking as if he knew who this young man was, or that he at least was able to identify him. Then turns around and says, but I don't even know who he was. You see what I'm saying? Let's continue.
Yeah, okay. I was at college and the guy stood up talking about, I don't believe in all that nonviolent stuff. Y'all need to get out the way, and all you punks. I said, hold it with the punk stuff. I said, because you got one punk out. You go to the second punk, you're going to get the best nonviolent whipping you ever got in your life. Because I'm not scared of the folk we fight. I ain't scared of the folk we fighting with. So let's be clear about that.
Let me say something to you guys. Al Sharpton is just boasting. That's all BS. I've got a video I'm going to show for you. Don't go anywhere. When he was in Baltimore about 8 or 9 years ago, there's a well-known activist in Baltimore. That's the city that I was born in, got family there, by the name of PK Boom, I believe. I may not be saying his name completely correct, but he's an activist, and he confronted him, and other black men in Baltimore confronted Al Sharpton, who's talking like he's tough guy here, talking about you'll get the most whipping that you ever, whatever he was saying there. He's talking like a tough guy. When they confronted him, he wasn't a tough guy. They really let into Al Sharpton and the hypocrisy of him. You're going to see that video. But let me let you see, while he's talking about, well, you got to elect the right people in the office. We got a whole bunch of black people in office that we put in office in the Congressional Black Caucus that have done nothing. And I'm going to show you a video in a moment why they haven't done anything. It's very explosive. It's very breaking news. Like, did a video on this before. People slept on it, but you can't sleep on this one. Let's hear a little bit from Kamala Harris, because like I said earlier, Kamala Harris, this is a trip. Kamala Harris told black people in this video at the National Action Network that you should get yours, that you should demand what you should get. The young man simply gets up there and says, hey, I want reparations. We don't get reparations. We don't get a check. We don't get what we should get. No vote, right? And then Al Sharpton wants to bust the young man out in a disrespectful manner himself. But yet he's got Kamala Harris up here saying this sort of stuff. Listen.
You know how I was talking earlier about how people are so transactional? I think we need to be transactional voters.
You see what I'm saying? Mixed messages.
Yes, it is right when we are trying to get folks to register to vote and to go vote. And it is absolutely right that we remind everyone of our history, especially when they're trying to erase it. We remind people of the lives, the bloodshed on the Edmund Pettus Bridge, the sacrifice of those young people at the lunch counter, the assassination of Dr. King. There are so many things that we must remember about history, so that what compels us to vote includes not only our civic duty, but honoring the ancestors. Yes. And here's what I'm suggesting in addition. Get yours.
Stop it right there. Kamala Harris is telling us to get ours. Yet when black people were asking for theirs, we were being criticized and told, don't give her pressure. Don't do this. Just let her run. It's the same thing that we got with Obama. When Obama ran for office and black people were wondering what they were going to get, everybody kept saying, oh, don't put no pressure on the brother. Let him run for a second term. When he gets in his second term, we'll get the black stuff. Well, he got in office for a second term and we didn't get any of the black shit. Biden gets in office and we're saying, okay, will Biden give us the black stuff? No. Biden gave us symbolism because black women were saying, Joe Biden, please pick Kamala Harris as your vice president. Okay. And even black women didn't even get anything when she was vice president. Nothing from nothing equals nothing. Now Kamala Harris, because she's running potentially a second time or a third time, now she's saying the talking points that we have been saying on social media while we have people like Roland Martin getting on his channel trying to talk smack about those of us on social media that are speaking our mind, just as this young man spoke his mind as well at the National Action Network. Let's continue.
Vote and say, I'm voting because I expect something out of this. You're not going to take for granted that I'm going to vote because I'm a good citizen and it's my civic duty to vote, so that you don't even worry about whether you're producing what I need because, oh, we can count on them to vote because they remember the Edmund Pettus Bridge.
Tell the truth.
It's okay to also give people permission to be transactional. And to say, if you're going to give my vote, this is what I expect.
Boom. Isn't that what the young brother just said? Wait a minute now. Let's not play around here. Isn't that what the young brother just said? Again.
Reparations is more than a check, but the very first thing it is a check. And come this year during the midterms and in 2028, if you don't have our check, you won't get no vote. No check, no vote. Yeah, I know that ain't what you want to hear, but that.
Now, Al Sharpton. Al Sharpton, come to the class. Come to the head of the classroom. You just sat up there and called this young man an agent. This young man just repeated what Kamala Harris was telling people to do at your own 35th conference where you only had 4 young people in the damn audience on the day in question when that young man right there came in and said, how many people 35 and under are here? And you had 4 at this particular day, in this particular hour, at this particular conference. Al Sharpton, what are you talking about, man? I've already showed video that you are potentially an agent yourself. I just want y'all to take that all in. Because with that said, I want to show you exactly the reason why the Congressional Black Caucus has done nothing for us in the 21st century. And we may very well never get anything done for us by these black politicians that we put into office because they're being compromised by AIPAC. I just showed you this right here. Hakeem Jeffries. Look at the money that he's getting from AIPAC. This is, if you ever want to know what these folks are getting, the lobbies that are on them, check out Track AIPAC. They show you every bit of money and contributions that these so-called politicians. Now, I bring up Hakeem Jeffries because he's supposed to be the leader of the Democratic Party. They keep talking about how he gonna be House Speaker. And he's already a compromised individual because he was compromised years ago when AIPAC recruited him. I showed this video before. This is why we're not getting anything as a collective, as a people, because AIPAC, Israel, is going after black people who are going into politics. They're recruiting them early, giving them money early, because they said right here, the problem is not the regular black person. The problem is that they need to get their hands on the black person that's running for elective office and making sure that they do the bidding of Israel by way of AIPAC, and they're not doing anything for the black community. Watch this.
So I think you know that AIPAC is both a grassroots organization and also a leadership empowerment organization. So a particular concern to us are not African Americans, but those African Americans that will be part of the Congressional Black Caucus.
Boom! They are targeting. Did you hear what he just said? They are targeting specifically those black politicians that are part of the Congressional Black Caucus, which by its very definition and name, you would assume that they're going to do the bidding and do the work for black people that they're supposed to represent. But you hear some official from AIPAC saying, we're specifically concerned about those black politicians that are part of the Black Congressional Caucus because they want to be able to manipulate them to do the bidding for Israel and not do the bidding of the people who put them in office. You see? Let's continue here. This is very, very, very explosive.
Those African Americans that will be governors, those African Americans that will be part of the cabinet of successive
like Hakeem Jeffries.
And we have been rather successful in identifying young, emerging political leaders, sometimes when they're in their teens.
Did you hear what they just said? Sometimes when they're in their teens. So they're going as far as when you're in high school to recruit you. Their goal is to make sure that that black politicians that we elect do their bidding. And then we wonder why they're not doing anything for us. They're not going to bat for us. They're not crying for us. They're not going to bat. And then Al Sharpton wants to set up here at his National Action Conference, 35 years in existence. And you sitting up here lying to us saying, well, the young people are doing some rehearsal. You'll see them later on in the day. Okay? Laughable. And he's saying that, well, you got to elect people. Well, black people have been electing people for God knows how long, and we're not getting anything done. And it's not only the Congressional Black Caucus that has been compromised by AIPAC, but it's the Democratic Party as well as the Republican Party as well that is also compromised, because it was both the AIPAC that was lobbying Republicans as well as Democrats, but at the same time putting their money on Trump to get him in office. You see, they play both sides of the candlestick. Let's continue.
Sometimes when they're on college campuses, sometimes when they're just getting into state politics.
See?
And sometimes when they first
like this brother, they recruit them when they're young.
AIPAC built a relationship with Barack Obama before he was a president, before he was a presidential candidate.
Did you just hear that? They already built a relationship with Barack Obama. So that means what? The truth of the matter in the pudding is that Obama was already selected. See, just like Dick Gregory said, we don't select the presidents. Presidents and politicians are selected for us. We simply vote for them based on whatever narrative they push in front of us to vote for them for. Which is why when Kamala Harris was running against Trump, everybody kept telling us, we don't want to hear the narratives about what you want for your vote or reparations. Just simply vote for her. Now, I'm not saying that Trump is by any means a great president, because the man is despicable. But Kamala Harris has now changed her tune. Al Sharpton is belittling young brother who told the damn truth, okay?
Tell the truth.
And let's get back to this.
Before he was a U.S. Senator, we built a relationship with him before he was in the Illinois State House. The relationship we built with Sarah Palin was before she was mayor. The groups that we are most excited about bringing to Israel for the first time would be the national, state, and local leaders of the College Republican National Committee and the College Democrats.
You see? They play both sides, the Republican side and the Democratic side. I remember Neely Fuller Jr. said that white supremacy plays both sides of the argument. It plays the left side and the right side of the argument. Now, I hope that you were able to digest what I just showed you, because I think it's very damning evidence of why we have the issues that we have currently in the 21st century with these so-called black politicians and politicians in general. But let me show you Al Sharpton when he was being confronted in Baltimore about 8 to 9 years ago. And you had an activist, PK Boom, I believe is his name. PKR Boom, I believe. And let me just show you how they confronted Al Sharpton and really expose Al Sharpton for what he really is. The brothers in B-More were just not having it, y'all. The brothers in B-More confronted him on those streets in Baltimore. Real brothers who said it like it is, told it like it is. Walk it like you talk it, and walk it like you know. Let's go.
No, I ain't moving nowhere, dog. I'm standing right where I am. See, I'm from around here. How you doing, Rev? What's your mission here today? You supposed to preach? What you gonna preach about, sir?
Jesus. So what you preach about in church?
I don't know. Y'all preach about money. Y'all preach about a lot of things in church.
About the what?
They preach about mass incarceration. How much money you getting paid to preach today, Al? Oh, don't touch people. Don't touch people.
They didn't want Al touching them.
Don't touch nobody.
I'm talking about.
Let it get my word.
Come on, listen.
There he is right there. It's the brother right there with the shades and the black hat on. That's Brother Boom, PKR Boom, I think Boom, who is an activist in, excuse me if I'm saying his whole letters wrong, but he's an activist, legitimate activist in Baltimore. He's the same one that told Jamal Bryant to get the hell out of here. He said, nobody in Baltimore wants you. The streets have spoken and they don't like you and we don't want you here. That was Jamal Bryant, the man who did that fiasco with the whole Target boycott when it was black women who were the ones who started that whole boycott. Let's go. There he is.
But the judge, right now, will show you how to operate in Baltimore. Okay, first, that's the problem. That's the problem. I ain't trying to operate in Baltimore. I'm asking you.
How much you get paid to preach today?
Mm.
My operation, my operation, I'm hoping on the gangsters. Okay, first of all, specialize in police talent.
So he has an organization called 300 Gangsters where they're organizing to help the community and get brothers out of the prison system. Very interesting.
First of all, that is when we jump on the road, so around here, we jump on that ass. So I need you to get my ass something for jumping on tonight. I know. I can feel it. Excellent. All right. Second, in the month.
Mm-hmm.
Carrying on Jim Crow justice with black faces, dog. Why you gonna just consign me to kick my ass? The way I like about albums about black situations, you know, a lot like they never too much forward, but I have pain that became of the ill and murder and injustice. They locked me up for a murder that I think you had on the box most money all that. I've done 20 years. And guess what? How hard, you know, there's millions of me out here. I've been on 20, you know how hard it is to have a murder record to Google me now. And not just me. I'm talking about millions in this city. I'm just one can see because I have not been beat up or holding that house. When you try to speak up here, when you see a black person, say, listen, this is what I need, Al. I need you for real to stop the bourgeoisie. I'm not saying you, brother. I'm saying you. When I say you, when you shake your hands and touch brother's hand, and see some people amongst them, the body on their way, and that gets you up there. I don't know. Brother, the whole network fucked up. I'm talking about the whole black establishment from your age on up, brother.
Talking about the black establishment, that it's all messed up. That's the brother that's activist, DK Boom.
Freddie Gray ain't just our problem, cuz killing black people across America is all our problem.
Now, check this out. What's happening is that they're saying, Al, you're supposed to be a black leader. Now, Al does confess that he's a leader. He operates and moves like he's a leader. But when the brothers from the streets of Baltimore confront him and say, Al, you're supposed to be a leader, now all of a sudden, Al has forgotten that he's supposed to be a leader. All of a sudden, he's saying, what you talking about? But yet, in that clip that I played of him, talking about he ain't no punk and that guy's an agent that came up there and said what he said about reparations, no vote, no reparations, no vote, and what have you. I was talking big and bad around all those elders that he had around him, or baby boomers, because shit, it was hardly no young people in the room. But then when he gets confronted, he can't handle the truth.
Donald Trump. I got a picture you shaking hands with Donald Trump. I see y'all at the
Stop lying, Al. Everybody, if you go online right now and Google, there's all types of pictures with Al Sharpton hugged up with Trump, shaking hands with him, smiling on the pictures, and so on and so forth. That's a fact. It's all, you can't hide the truth, Al. It's all in the cloud. It's all in the internet, as well as you possibly being a informant or agent or whatever we want to call it.
The media wars and y'all be shaking hands and shit. For real. Yeah. Alright.
I want to end that there. It does go on more, but you can always go on YouTube and put in the search bar, Al Sharpton confronted by brothers in Baltimore, Maryland, and there's a bunch of videos out there showing that footage. The footage itself is actually about 7 minutes long. I've shown you about a good 6 minutes of it. But the bottom line is you get the gist of it. They confronted him and he swelled up, or he shriveled up is the best word I could say. Okay. And he basically said before them when they confronted him, what? I'm a leader? He got amnesia all of a sudden, when any other time Al Sharpton is moving and talking like he's a leader. I'm not saying that he's your leader, he's my leader, because I certainly have issues with the man, but I'm saying what he tries to portray himself as. This whole situation with the young man right here, I think the young man, he'll take criticism because he said something about the elders and saying that they were old and that they're not listening to the youth and they're kind of like in the way. And I hate to say it, but I kind of feel that there was a lot of truth to what he said. Sometimes people can say things that are truthful, but you may not like the way they said it or how it comes out, but you can't deny the truth.
Tell the truth.
But there is a divide. And when you look at people like Al Sharpton and many of these baby boomer leaders, the majority of the people that they're leading are people that are baby boomers in their 70s, people that are older, and they really don't have the voice of young people. What do you think? Let me know. Check this out. Check out the video. Share this video in your social media. Make sure that you go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Share the video. Make sure you hit the share button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and hit all. Make sure you double check to make sure that you still subscribe to the channel, because YouTube has a way of unsubscribing people. It's really weird stuff. Okay, so thank you for watching. Share the video. Appreciate you for being here. We're going to get ready to get on out of here. And I've done pretty much all that I could do around this particular issue. Now, everybody, I hope you like those animated cartoons. We're going to keep those coming. But with that said, everybody, y'all take care. This is Information Man.
I'ma give it to you. Miss that smile, Lord knows I ain't seen that in a while.
Information is power.
Up keeping you down. You a queen that must be heaven sent. Pray my soul, I must repent for not telling you what I meant and how I felt. Honestly, I'm used to throwing wishes in the well. My conscience tells me that I could have helped without fail. Actions speak louder than words, so that's a lesson that I learned all by myself.
Let it know, gotta let it know. She my white horse, she my medical. She like my baby mom, know how to take care of me. Give my baby products, you gon' be bread every day. So I let it know, gotta let it know. Came through the front door, I'll be ready for.
BS3 Network is now on Roku TV under BS3 TV. Download BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.
Tell the truth.
You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel.
Feel it, baby, stress is all around us. These high ceilings and I need it, baby. Pressure in McDonald's, I won't steal it, baby. Solid, baby.